Hello, friends, and welcome again to this series on Catholic teaching on chastity education. This is the third video out of four. My name is Adolfo Castañeda, Director of Hispanic Education for Human Life International. And now we concentrate in this video and the next one on how young adults can live chaste lives. So in this presentation, we're going to discuss how young adults must live chaste lives. In our previous presentation, we discussed how parents must teach chastity to their children. Chastity in young adults needs a separate discussion. Young adults are now independent from their parents, although they still owe them respect. This is always something that they owe to their parents according to the fourth commandment, whether they are living at home or outside of home or independent. And they should also benefit from their parents for advice and as a point of reference. But as young adults, it is true that they are now fully responsible for themselves. So that's why we devote these two last videos on this topic. We begin with what is the conjugal meaning of the body? Well, so far we have seen how damaging premarital sex or premarital sexual relations and cohabitation are by its evil consequences. Now we're going to see why they are evil in themselves. And so we approach this topic by talking about the beautiful concept of the conjugal meaning of the body, which will help us do precisely that. The conjugal meaning of the body is the capacity that God has inscribed in the human body to express love for others as a gift of self from God, and to welcome others as gifts from God. How beautiful it would be if we would see each other as gifts from God. How would that increase our love for others and for ourselves? In the case of marriage, this meaning is expressed in a special way in the conjugal act. In the case of the unmarried, it is expressed non-sexually as unselfish service for others. In both vocations, the body and the soul participate in this giving of oneself. It's the giving of the total person. Continuing with this topic, the conjugal meaning of the body also includes openness to life. Authentic love is inherently open to life. It's inherently oriented towards the giving of life. In the case of marriage, it is open to children and their education. In the case of your married, it is expressed as spiritual fatherhood or motherhood when we take care of others. Christ's redemptive love for his church is at the same time a conjugal love, because both redemptive love and conjugal love are characterized by the giving of oneself to the one beloved. In the case of Christ, to giving himself in body and soul to his church. Through baptism, Christ, in union with his church, engenders new children of God. So we see that the sacrament of marriage is an image of the marriage between Christ and his church. Now, we can tackle again, at least briefly, why is cohabitation a betrayal of the values and the sign of Christian marriage? Fornication and cohabitation betray the conjugal meaning of the body. That is why there are a betrayal, the values and sign of Christian marriage. That's the basic answer. And it is so because the sexual acts do not express true conjugal love, the total giving of oneself. Neither of these acts outside of marriage express openness to life and the care of children. Furthermore, they do not express the sacramental sign of marriage. Now, the sacramental sign of marriage is composed of the vows the bride and the bridegroom express to each other at their wedding, and the conjugal act they should physically and truthfully express those vows. Finally, these acts do not express the public dimension of conjugal love and marriage that we have already talked about when we spoke about the sacrament of marriage. Now, why is cohabitation intrinsically evil? We continue with this topic. Since the conjugal meaning of the body is intrinsic to the person, its betrayal is intrinsically evil. Since the values of this meaning are very important, life and love, its betrayal is gravely evil. So when you commit an act that is against something that is good, intrinsic to the person, your act is intrinsically evil. When that good or those goods are very high, then you commit an intrinsically and gravely evil act. People should not fornicate or cohabitate out of love for God. But if they do not love God enough, they should at least not sin out of fear of hell. However, the fear of God should lead everyone to a more complete conversion and a greater love for God and neighbor. What is the role of parents when their children are young adults? The educational mission of the parents does not end when their children reach adulthood. Parents must respect the legitimate autonomy of their young adult children. However, parents ought to be a point of reference through their example and advice to which their children, even though young adults, should be open to. Parents ought to give advice to them to maintain a vibrant spiritual Catholic life. Parents must encourage them to work for the transformation of the world, where life, marriage, and the family and justice are respected and cherished, without fear of professing themselves as Christians in the public square. What is the role of parents in their children's vocation when they have reached adulthood, when they are young adults? The general context is God's call to love authentically as Christians. This is a call to everybody, to every Christian. The immediate context is God's call to a specific vocation, celibacy or virginity for the kingdom of God, or marriage, also for the kingdom of God. Parents should not decide for their children what their vocation should be, but parents ought to share with them the correct criteria and values for a correct decision. Parents also ought to lead by example. They also ought to avoid the evil mentality of male chauvinism and, on the other hand, radical feminism that causes so much damage. Well, friends, this is what I wanted to share with you in this third out of 4 videos about how young adults can live or must live chaste lives. In the next video, the last one, the 4th one, we shall complete this topic. Thank you for your attention, and I want you to again refer you to our contact information there in your screen that you can use to communicate with us in order to know more about Vida, Humana, Internacional, Human Life International, and the topics we address in defense of life and family. I would like to invite you especially to visit our YouTube channel, where we have in English and Spanish tons of videos about all the topics related to the defense of life and family, and also our website. And you can communicate with me through my email address at the bottom of your screen if you want to know more about us, if you want to receive in Spanish our free weekly e-letter, or if you want to know more about our course, our training course, a complete course in all the issues pertaining to life and family, which is both in English and Spanish. And also, of course, invite you to visit the all-English website of Human Life International, a wonderful website, complete with information about this and other topics, www.hli.org, at the bottom of the screen on the right. Thank you for your attention. May God bless you, and I invite you to watch the 4th and final video of this series on chastity education.